Hey everyone, I got a great video for you today. In this video, I want to show you how to find a trend on Etsy in real time, but not any trend. This is more of a style trend, so how something looks. If you've seen my video about trends on Kittle, this one right here recently, they actually predicted this trend and it's very popular right now on Etsy. I'm going to show you how to find it, what to look for these, and you can use these techniques to find any trend actually. And then I'm going to show you what to design for these, kind of how to think about it when you find this trend and how to put it together. I'm going to do it all in Canva as well, how to put this trend together. So not only the research, but the design part of a new trend, and you can follow these tips for trends coming up. So hopefully this helps you get more sales and lets you know kind of different styles that are coming up. So without any further ado, let's get into Etsy. I'm going to be using Profit Tree to show you that these things sell. All right, so here I am in Etsy. I have Profit Tree enabled right here. You can see this Etsy radar. If you don't know what Profit Tree is, it's an app that can help you see kind of the data on Etsy to show you what's selling, what's not selling. Actually, that's a lot more than that, but that's what we're going to use for it today. If you haven't seen my videos, I have a whole list of what Profit Tree does. I also interviewed the co-founder of Profit Tree, and she explained, I'll put that video up here, she explained more of what it does. But just to keep it simple, if you have Profit Tree enabled, you can see the data right here. The first step to do to find a trend on Etsy is I like to type in graphic t-shirt, mainly because that's what we design. We design graphics on t-shirts, and that kind of pulls up, you know, a wide spectrum of things that are selling. Now, with Profit Tree enabled, you can see which ones are selling and which ones aren't, and which one's getting a lot of sales, like this one. 132, and this one 53, and this one 106. This one's getting 106, but what do you notice about these three? These three actually look very similar. They have a vintage illustration and kind of a grouping of things, big and small. This is of sea animals, this is of butterflies, this is of cats. This one's different, right? As we scroll down, we'll notice even more butterflies, 38 sales. 62 sales, and so on. So that one's different and that one's this one. So you see, what I'm seeing is we're starting to see a style trend of this. This kind of looks similar to this and this. Now, some of them are on dark shirts and others are on light shirts, but you can see it's popular now. Popular, you want to look for that popular now tag or bestseller tag as well as sales. Now let's keep going and scroll down. There's another one which doesn't have sales. So it's not a guarantee that you'll get sales with this style. You can see this person probably thought the same thing that I'm thinking. We got to make this style here. This one doesn't have either, kind of almost the same style. So you see people are doing some of that, but it doesn't guarantee a style, but we can take these and kind of put them together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a screenshot on my Mac. It's Command-Shift-4, you see that right there, and I just go like this, and I'm going to take a screenshot of this one like that, boom. And then I'm going to look for other ones that are on here that are making a sale. What I want to do is I want to make sure that there's enough of these that kind of show that this style is something that people like to buy. Now, it doesn't have to be like every single one of these shirts sell. I just need to have like 10 of them that really work, so that we know that, well, part of the reason why this is selling is because people love this style. It's not the only thing, but if we can get the style right, I think that's good. So just going graphic t-shirts may not have you find everything. So one thing I like to do is change it up, and I like to go and change this to something like flower t-shirt or flowers. And there you go. This one's something like that. We gotta wait for Etsy radar to load. It takes a little bit. This is live. So yeah, 59 sales, right? So I would do this again, do the Command-Shift-4, take this screenshot of this one. And what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be collecting a lot of these and show you. So on after putting it all on my desktop, I'm gonna do that and I'll show you all the ones that I found. Now, again, not all of these like this is gonna sell. Like this one probably is really new and hasn't sold yet, but you know, it's a nice design. So that's fine. We don't have to, it doesn't mean that because there's a bunch of them that don't sell that this style doesn't work. What we want to know is there's a bunch that do sell. Now the other thing I want to take note of is when I click in here, again we can see the profit tree, but I'm also looking at kind of the keywords, botanical garden, flower, and all of this, and also the price, because it says 870, but I suspect that if you go, see they're doing 870 on, I don't know what one they're doing 870 on, but if we do like a regular one like this blue heather navy, and size, I like to just do like the large or medium to make sure that that's the actual price. So the actual price is $16.70, right? That's what they're selling it at a very big discount, 60% discount, 41. So that could help it get some sales. So these are kind of the things that we're looking at, what they're doing, as well as the keywords here. They're using vintage, graphic, vintage again. They are using botanical, but we may not do one of flowers. We might do something else. So we're looking for other things in here. We also want to know what kind of shirt this is. In this case, it says it right here, Bella Canvas. So I just want to see what shirt we're using, and we're going to use the most popular shirt after I find all of these to do that at the end of this video. I'll show you how to find that type of shirt in Printify and how to put the design that we're going to make in there. Okay, last thing here, let's go back. So again, this is Profit Tree. So you can use Profit Tree to see sales. Amazing, 308 sales. So if you want to have this kind of data right here at your fingertips really easily, Profit Tree has it for you. You can sign up. I have a link in the description for $67 lifetime deal. So just a one-time payment, no subscription. And you can have this as well with the Etsy radar and the other things that Profit Tree has. But just having this can really tell you, yes, this is selling, or no, this is not selling, and then kind of get it from there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a bunch of screenshots here. I'm gonna open it up in Affinity Designer. I'm gonna show you what I found so that we can make even more adjustments and figure out what we're gonna design and how we're gonna design it. All right, so here I am in Affinity Designer. Now, here are some of the screenshots that I took. So you can see, you probably saw the cat one. Here's one with art, butterflies, fruits. You got sea creatures, flowers again, sea creatures. Sea creatures seem to be a big one. We got dogs here, owls, like forest animals, I guess, and cats. Cats and dogs, a big one. So you can see right away with the Profit Tree things here, 53 sales, 27 sales, 132 sales, crazy, 14, and so on. So the thing I like about this is if you're looking for a trend, let's say you saw another kind of style, this is what you want to do. You want to make sure that it's not just that design. To find a trend, a style trend, there needs to be, you know, a bunch of them. In this case, I got 12 right here, and that's pretty good. If you can find 12 that are doing kind of the same design style, then I think you've found a trend. Now, I'm not going to find all of them for you. You can go and look and do that graphic t-shirt on Etsy, find one, and then like if you like the style and it has a lot of sales, take a screenshot of that and then go hunting for other ones. What was hard about this than other ones is you can see they were done in different ones. So I had to go out and do vintage aesthetic t-shirts and then go back and do fruit t-shirts and go back and then do, because they're not all the same topic, and they shouldn't be because we're actually doing style, not topic. So they're a little harder to find than topic, because topic you can just type in, you know, cats and you'll see all the cats, but you can't really type in a style if it's not if it doesn't have a name. Like cottagecore style, there was a name, and things like that. But in this case, there wasn't really a name besides vintage. I think vintage was in a lot of them. Vintage. So I'm calling this style vintage illustration style, but I don't know if that translates. You can't just type in vintage illustration t-shirt. You may find some in this case because all of them say vintage. And there are illustrations, so maybe it'll catch on. Maybe people will put that in the title And if it's in the title, then you'll find it easy. But when the trend first comes out, there usually isn't a name yet. So keep that in mind. All right, so we see with the profit tree data here that these are selling. So next step is, what are the keywords? So I went in and looked at some of the keywords here. Again, vintage, tattoo, retro, nature, graphic. That's what this t-shirt was saying. This one had the keywords vintage aesthetic, retro, nature, graphic. Again, vintage, tattoo. I don't know if it does actually looks like a tattoo, but they put that in there. This one said cottage core, not well because of the butterflies. Vintage retro 90s, vintage collage, nature minimalist. The reason why you want to do that is when you're creating your t-shirt and loading it up, you're going to want to use these as tags as well as keywords in your title and description. So be aware of that. And the last thing here is kind of price. So I went back and looked at all the prices of these like I showed. And it looks like most of them are about $19, $20. 16 is the lowest one here, but you can see 21, 19, 19. So this is kind of what everybody's pricing. Now you can go a little higher or you can go around there. I wouldn't go too much lower than this. You don't want to race to the bottom, but you do want to be competitive. Oh, and another thing we noticed that all of them, except for this one that we showed earlier, are comfort colors. So comfort colors, comfort colors, comfort colors, all of these that I found were comfort colors. So that's really big. I think people love that t-shirt, and I'm going to show you where to find that on Printify, and then we're going to put the design that we're making in Canva on here. So the next step, now that we've found the trend and we can see that this style is actually something that lots of people like to buy, the next step is, what are we going to design? So we can go back into Etsy, and we will. You'll notice there's a lot of sea creatures, and that's great, but there could be a lot of competition in sea creatures. So what we're going to do is we're going to go look in Etsy, see sea creatures, and we're also going to try and see if there's something that we can stand out with. What I really like about this one is this is an art t-shirt. So it's going back to the hobbies and occupations and things like that. So we may want to do one for other different hobbies, maybe art, music, crafting, things like that. Or we may want to do something for occupations. Remember, nurse and doctor, maybe even a gamer can do this. I also was thinking that it would be really neat to do things like specific places. So different things that remind you of Italy, or different things that remind you of this island seashore kind of thing. Or maybe it's different foods. Like this one has foods, but maybe it's a specific type of food. We could do all Korean food or all Italian food or things like that. That could be fun. So let's get back into Etsy. We'll do one more research to see what's popular and what doesn't have a lot of competition. Then we're going to go back into Canva and we're going to put some things together. I'll show you how to find that. All right, we're back here in Etsy, and I just typed in this vintage 90s sea animals, since that's one of the things we saw a lot of during my research. And when you come back here, you'll notice there's a ton of these out here. There's a lot of competition, and a lot of them don't have sales actually. So check that out. So you may not want to do sea animals, because everybody's doing sea animals, it looks like. And you know, only the top ones are getting sales. So this is something that people do a lot but don't know enough about trends, is that they see the trend and they copy the trend and hope that they're gonna get sales. Like look at this one and this one look almost exactly the same, if not the same. This is just a reverse of this one. So when you see sales and see this style, it doesn't mean to just straight up copy the same one and put it on and get some sales. What you want to do is actually try something different. So let's see if there's any vintage raccoons. Let's see. T-shirt here. And right, sometimes we got to do this. Yeah, so there are raccoons. Oh, there's one. There's another one. Okay. So two. not as much competition, at least not the vintage illustration that we're seeing. So could be good. Raccoons are very popular right now. So another thing we might want to try is vintage food illustrations. Let's see. Oh, let's do this again. Etsy sometimes doesn't know what I'm talking about. Okay, so there's that one and that one. That one. So some people are doing some food stuff, but maybe not specific. So this is what you'll do. You start looking and seeing if there's any competition. Can you do better than this competition? Is there too much competition? And things like that. So that's the next step. So I'm not going to go through which one to do here. You're going to have to do that for yourself. But there's a lot of ideas out there. Remember the hobbies, occupations, places, food. Find something that you're going to stand out with, that people will resonate with, that there's a big fan base of, and then we'll do that. All right, so that's the how. And then I'm going to show you in Canva kind of what I did, what I was looking for. So here's Canva, and these are the kinds of illustrations that we're looking for. So the way to do that is to type in elements and just type in vintage illustration, like that. Boom. And I'm going to add a new page here. And let me show you what we're looking for here. So this, no, that's not what we want. This looks more photorealistic. This one, yeah, I think that could be okay. That one could be okay. We're looking for kind of a line drawing. That could be okay, but what we want to do is look for something that they all look the same. So let me do a vintage illustration animals, just so you can see the difference here. So this, no, that's not what we're looking for. No, no. This one, yes, something like that. Let's see, maybe this one, something like that. And so there's a specific style that we're looking for. Not that, that's too much black. We just want a little bit of line drawing. Definitely not this, right? So make sure that they're all the same style. Now, once you find one that's a good style, in fact, let me go vintage illustration, a raccoon, like this. And there's some funny ones. Let's see if I can find one. Or maybe oh, there we go. This is perfect. Okay, so once you find one like this, you can do magic recommendations and see all, and we'll see a lot of the different ones. Now, these two don't look exactly the same style. Neither does, let's see, this one, right? They're all kind of a different style. We want it in the same style. So one hack that I do, or one thing that I do, is I right click, I go to info, and I go this raccoon animal made by this person, or Pixabay, see all, and then I do animal again, like that. And oh, maybe I do illustration. That's too much. There you go. Well, this Pixabay is actually probably not the right one. Here's one that I found with these. So here's one by searching. I'm gonna go info, and this person had a bunch. You can see G Black ID. I'm gonna go see all, and look at that, a ton of good ones. So that's how I found this one. Now, depends, hit and miss, like Pixabay is too big, but sometimes you can find the artist that does this and they're all kind of in the same style. So that's what I did. And I'm going to show you some layout things. So this one is the robot one that I really liked. You can see there's some robot stuff here. There's some really cool stuff. Like, let me do another one here. Like, you could use like pirate. It could be a pirate theme. That's a collage here. I guess that's another name for it. Vintage illustration collage or group. Here's this one. Wow, isn't that cool? That robot. But you can do all the dancing ones. There's a dancing one here and a dancing one here. So you could make a t-shirt with all the dancing ones. I think that would be really cool. I found all these raccoons in here. Look at that. So this could be one thing. Here's all the foxes. that I found in here. Now you don't have to do those things too. You can do vintage illustration, gamer stuff, or different foods. Like I said, like I think it would be really cool, but I didn't do it, is like all the Italian foods, or all the Korean foods or Japanese foods. That could be really cool if somebody wants to do that. I think that could stand out. But try to find things that stand out and are popular. Not necessarily raccoons, not necessarily foxes. I'm just showing you that you can use this technique in Canva and find all the same drawing styles and then just put it together in this tall rectangle shape, right? Make sure they're not all touching. You can make them bigger and smaller. That's all I did, is make them bigger and smaller and fit in the space. So there's some of the dancing ones here, and they're kind of the same style, right? Like this one right here isn't exactly the same style as this one right here, but they kind of match. So I think that's good. All right, so the next step that we're gonna do here, is I'm gonna try and make it on a black t-shirt. We saw some of them that reverse out, and I don't necessarily like that way. Like, I showed a better way how to do it, but some of them actually do the black and white. So let me show you what this looks like if you just reversed it. It's gonna look like that, which is not the best on here, but for some reason people are okay with it. It doesn't really look like the raccoon. It looks like a negative of a raccoon. So I'm gonna stay away from that one. Sometimes it's okay, but in this case, it looks really weird. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna download this one. I'm gonna hit share, download. I have Canva Pro, so I can do a transparent background, which is great. And I'm just gonna do page 5, the current page right here, and hit done. Now this is gonna download to my desktop or my downloads folder, and then I'm gonna bring this into Printify. We're gonna see what this looks like on Comfort Colors on Printify. Okay, last step. Now that you've found the one that you like, not necessarily raccoons again, maybe a different one, and you put it together in Canva, next step is to put it on Comfort Colors, because we saw that that's the most used one. So I'm gonna go to Catalog. Here, I'm gonna go to T-shirts, and let's see, then Comfort Colors right there, 1770. I think that's the only one. Let me see if there's more Comfort Colors. Oh, I guess there's hoodies and all of this one's Comfort Colors as well. Very cool. But I like the one that we saw earlier. I think it said, yeah, bestseller. So I would stick with this one. It's a bestseller. It's also Comfort Colors. So I'm gonna click on here. I mainly use Printify Choice Network, but you can choose manually too. Monster Digital is pretty good, 9.4. So I'll do that. Start designing. And then we're gonna just drag in that one that I did. Boom, here. And then we're gonna see what it looks like on Comfort Colors. And oh, I forgot, I just made this black, but we noticed that some of them are blue on here. I could have done that too. So go into your Canva, change these into blue. Luckily, these are actually vectors. So some of the ones that you find are vectors and you can change the colors. Some of them aren't. So let's check some colors here. It's gonna have to be some light color. So ivory, butter. You notice I knocked it out so it doesn't have the background, which is what you want. Ombre, blossom. Are there any other light colors here? I think that's it. That's a good. Okay, let me move myself back here. All right, and then we're gonna preview this and see what it looks like. It kind of looks big on here, so I'm gonna size it down just a little bit. So I'm gonna go edit. I'm gonna go back to here and then size it down just a little bit. Make sure to center it, and then we'll go back, preview. Yeah, that's feeling better to me. And let's see them on someone standing. Yeah, that looks a lot better to me. And then we can pick the colors. I'm always in the way here. I'm gonna move this. Let's look like what it looks like on a color. Let's put it on a person here. So this blossoms all right. I really think it pops on the white for sure. Ivory, yeah, that's a nice one. Butter, cambray, yeah. and blossom. Now, if you're going to reverse these, you're going to have to do my reverse technique on it. I'll put that video up here, and then put it on like the darker colors. But this isn't going to look good. The dark colored ones aren't going to look good on the dark one. But we did see that dark and light ones sell on Etsy, so you might want to play around with that. So there you go. Once you got that done, save the product, and remember we're gonna change these to the right price. So oh, you can pick all the ones that you want. I actually like the front and maybe one person, but you can also get Comfort Colors mock-ups on Etsy if you do that. So let's just say we pick the right mock-ups here, save that selection. We can also add mock-ups later, but I wanted to show you, this is where you put your keywords that we saw, vintage, illustration, all those ones that we listed before. You might want to put it in there as well. And you can add the tags here too, that vintage and retro and 90s and the ones that we had here. And then changing your price, you can see retail price 21. They probably left it, to be honest, here is that's kind of what the price was. If you want to change it to lower, maybe $20.99 or $19.99, I think that's around the price range we saw, 19 to about 22. At least that's the sale price. So if you want to mark it up and then do the sales price on it to bring it back down to this price, then you can do that too. I think that's a good way to show people that they're getting a good value, right? So there you go. I'm not going to publish this, but that's how you do it. That's how you do it in Printify. Printify has all the Comfort Colors that you need and all the different sizes and colors and all of that stuff. So have fun with this one. I think this can really help you get something different if you haven't tried this already. So there you go. That's how you find a trending style on Etsy using Profit Tree and all the techniques that I showed you how to do. Now, go and find another one or create for this one too. I think this would be a good one if this fits your niche. I think it could work with any niche. It's not niche specific, it's more style specific. So if you do outdoors, you can do a whole thing of outdoors things, outdoor animals or outdoor equipment, camping, hiking, all those things I think could be really good. So think of those things, like I said, hobbies and occupations and maybe even places and food. I think those are going to be your top ones for this style, this vintage illustration collage group style, whatever the name we want to come up with. Now, if you want to see more of those trends that I talked about in a video here with Kiddo, again, Kiddo actually knew about this trend too. So go ahead and watch those videos. You can find some other style trends that they're predicting for 2026. Thanks again for watching. And as always, keep creating and keep learning. I'll see you on the next one.